Hello there, my name is Eric Hawkinson, and welcome to the Future Hub at the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies. And I am standing in front of you in what's known as the U Theater. You as in you, the viewer, the media creator, and the shape of this 180-degree immersive viewing experience that we've created just for this lab here at Future Hub. And in this presentation, I'm going to be talking about immersive learning programs in higher education. What is immersive learning and how we're using things like the U Theater and other things here at the Future Hub to advance research and pedagogies using these technologies. I'm going to be talking in 3 stages in this talk. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about immersive technology, what it is, and then we're going to put it forth into this lab and what we're doing in this space, how we've designed it, and components like the theater that you see behind me. And then we're going to project that into the future and talk about some of the programs and applications that we've been developing that we're going to be using to host and iterate on research and projects through this space. Again, my name's Eric Hawkinson. I'm a professor here at Kyoto University of Foreign Studies. Welcome to this presentation. All right, let's talk about immersive technology. Immersive technology is a suite of tools, a category of technologies ranging from augmented reality to virtual reality, extended reality, mixed reality, and a whole slew of new concepts and media that have been put forth. And we take these technologies, this media, and we put it into educational context, and we come down on immersive learning. And in the past, 10 years or so, the field of immersive learning has grown exponentially, and we're seeing a lot of great things in the affordances from which this technology can give in certain contexts, not all, in teaching and learning. And we're doing a lot of that to advance those good things about that while mitigating the risks here at the Future Hub here in Kyoto. Right, so we're going to talk a little bit about immersive technology. You can think of it a little bit like the next evolution in media, right? You have print, cinema, radio, television, and now we have the new step, the next era in media from which we can consume and communicate with each other. And each step along the way, we kind of change the way that we use this technology. We change the way humans communicate and interact with each other, right? But the one thing it does so well that all of these other things in the past didn't do so well is it starts to meld all of the things that came before it in the print books and the media and the recordings and music and websites and 3D media that we saw on the internet. It brings those into the real world. So if we take the example of the cell phone, the last era that we had, right? In my pocket, which I just pulled out, has all of the books, music, and other media from which you would want to consume, all in your pocket with you on demand whenever you want it. Augmented reality, virtual reality will allow you to take that media and bring it with you and attach it to everything that you see in the real world, to people, to feelings, to places, to things. And virtual reality will allow you to go into that media as if it were a part of your world. So the blending of the real world and digital contents will become nothing like we've ever seen before. All right, so we have the spectrum, right? The real world and the digital context. And what we have in the middle of it is the virtuality continuum, and probably the most well-known kind of theory or framework that we have now working with these technologies. As learning designers, as instructional designers, as teachers, we're going to have to start thinking about this spectrum moving towards the future and how we will design learning and how much digital contents are being melded and blended with our contents. There's a couple of different other things that we think about with this one, but let me give you some examples right here. Over here we have virtual reality. This is me in my lab about 5 years ago playing a game called Beat Saber, where I have lightsabers in my hands and blocks are falling at me. There's a bit more going on there I'd like to explain a bit about it too. Augmented reality, this is actually looking through the lens of a digital construct where we're looking at a real poster, but digital contents are being displayed on top of it in real time, overlaying and augmenting what you see in real time as you move through the world. And this is me right here in my lab, in which I'm using virtual reality to teach kind of spatial acuity and other kind of complicated concepts in virtual reality to people that are outside of virtual reality. And these are some examples of how I've been using these technologies in the past 10 years or so to advance the use of these in educational contexts. Right? We know there's a ton of benefits to this technology. The research is showing a number of great and promising things moving towards the future as far as being able to display information when students need it and want it. This is kind of an exacerbation of what happened in the mobile era, right? Learning just in time, when you want it, when you need it. Special education, there has been a ton of research that shows promising uses and affordances of this technology for a variety of learning disabilities and learning situations. Learning analytics and customized, curated content is what this technology does really well. It collects more data than ever before. It analyzes what's happening in the room. It's blending digital contexts with things that are happening in real time. And so you can really zero in on what's happening, analyze the situation, and even with the help of things like artificial intelligence, really start to contextualize the learning that's happening in real time for students. Of course, the thing that I zero in on here often is called the empathy machine, the idea of immersion, where you are actually going into the media, you're being part of the media, and it affects you in different ways. You think about this media in a different way because you are immersed. And it's called the empathy machine because some early research shows that we are more empathetic to media from which we are a part of. Because we have extra agency, we feel more closer to that media because we can interact with it in a deeper, more humanistic way. That leads me to some concerns I have, though, about this technology, right? So, like I said before, the data that's collected is large and happens quite often. So we can see that privacy might become an issue moving towards the future using this technology because more data is collected about users of this technology than ever before, and therefore it can be dangerous or can invade the privacy of students and teachers as we use it. For example, as we use a headset, something like this, I'll point out here. Let's pull out one of these headsets here. This is a Meta device. It's called a Quest Pro. As I wear this, I move my head left and right, up and down, and every second about 10,000 data points are collected about my body movements and how I move. And just with that fingerprint alone, just like we know with facial recognition, we can recognize people, we can recognize you with your movement fingerprint, almost or even better than a fingerprint scan or a facial scan these days. So you might feel private because you're an avatar, but we actually know who you are. We can de-anonymize you in these environments if we're not careful. Those go together with all of these other dangers that we see coming forth in the mobile era with compulsion loops and things like that moving forward that can be exacerbated with these technologies. Right, so now we come down to why we're making this space, and we talk about these technologies and the skills that we need moving towards the future, the skills that we can help curate, we can help nourish, we can help level up using these technologies, right? So we go back to thinking about this technology as the next evolution in the media technology, right? We come over here, we have wordsmiths, right? The print era, if you're able to put words together in a certain fashion, put them in a way that's clever and puts an image into your mind, you have the skills to be, make great literary works of art, to be able to persuade people, tell great stories. You have the skills that you need to move into and communicate very well. And moving further along, right, we can record your voice. You have the cadence, you have tone, you have presence. And moving into the TV era, we have things like stage design and special effects and appearance, gestures. All of these things add a different element from which the way we communicate. We need a different set and more sets of skills to be great communicators and take advantage, have leverage with these technologies. With the new media era and phones in our pockets, right? Now all of these things before are now in our pockets, so we can be a wordsmith, we can be a singer recording with audio and mics, but we can also be our own recording studio, our own distribution network using these technologies. But then we come down to the new realities of immersive learning and augmented and virtual reality, and we need a new set of skills. We're just starting to understand a little bit better about the types of communication that happens, how this communication changes the way humans communicate through the medium of these technologies. And just to give a few things that we're going to be using more moving towards the future would be things like photogrammetry, 3D modeling, artificial intelligence, and a few other things that we're going to be mixing in with this technology to help us communicate, to leverage our work, and to help us create the things that we're going to use in our daily life and our jobs moving forward into the future. Right, so some examples of this technology already in place and moving towards the future, right? We have examples and training simulations, nursing, engineering, vocational training, anything where it's a little bit too expensive, too risky, too dangerous to do in the real world, we're starting to do in virtual reality. Virtual campus tours right here at the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies, we have something called the My Hometown Project, where our global tourism students are learning how to create, curate, and distribute virtual tours to train them to design real tours and other situations with new media. Immersive exchange programs, we're developing ways to use the laboratory and virtual reality, augmented reality to get students collaborating over great distances. And other things that we can think about, and new uses, new case uses of this are coming out every single day. And even students here at our university are coming up with fantastic research projects and other things that we haven't thought of, and that's one of the things that we're excited about in this space. So just to recap, the strengths of this technology are you can analyze the users, you can build upon and curate the contents of this media that's being presented to students very quickly and curated for each student on the fly in real time. It's weak as if it's a little difficult to scale just of yet, and it could be dangerous in the fact that we are taking in lots of data. So there's a threat as far as that is concerned, but there's also an opportunity in increased engagement, motivation, some of the things that I personally have been researching around these technologies in different. So where I'm standing now used to be a computer lab, and we've turned this into something called the Future Hub. And it used to be something that looked a little bit like this, right? Rows of computers where students would come in and start working on their assignments or do some self-study, use the internet, print out some documents, etc. But during the pandemic, the rate of students bringing in their own PCs or having their own devices or studying from home skyrocketed, so we started looking towards the future and how we can use this space to leverage new technologies. What meant we needed a whole new design. And if you look over here at this picture, right, this is an example of a VR space. Notice you want to take out all the desks, you want to have open space, everything's on wheels, moving around. That's exactly how this space was designed. You can find some research about the process of designing this space and how it's being analyzed and used moving from the future online at my personal website as well. Right, so that whole idea of trying to make a space that is best suited towards virtual and augmented reality is the whole idea of creating the space, and this dome, this 180 experience that you see behind me is a big part of that, and it's called the U Theater. It's a 48:9 aspect ratio screen, and the reason that we designed this is for shared virtual experiences. One of these headsets, like I showed before, Right. You put this on and you are now cutting yourself off from the people standing next to you. So if you're in a space like we are here, you would need to rope off a safe place for you to swing your arms, move your body so you don't run into other people. But also it's hard for you to talk with people that are outside of VR or perhaps at a distance. This space is meant to allow 5 to 10 people to comfortably stand together and enjoy a virtual experience, or to go into a virtual space, or for one person to give a presentation of a virtual tour to a group of people. And we're going to be using the space to experiment with a lot of these things moving towards the future. Right, so this space is going to be very special, and we're going to be already started actually running different types of events, different types of classes, different types of learning activities through this space using the U Theater, the VR headsets, my augmented reality applications, etc., etc. Some of the projects that our students have already been doing, one I already mentioned in the My Hometown project, where students are creating virtual tours. We currently have a database of about 300 to 400 tours of students' hometowns, where students who go into VR or give a presentation in a space like this, and we can visit each other's hometowns. It's become a kind of a cultural exchange program, and it's helped augment a lot of our study abroad programs as well. Cuffs Go from Pokemon Go, using our augmented reality app that I developed called Reality Labo. Students are creating just-in-time, unique, digitally enhanced, gamified tours and experiences where you can walk around campus and search for things, or kind of like digital scavenger hunts and other types of activities like that in a class I teach called Game Experience Design. A couple of other experiments here, but there's a bunch more that we can show you if you visit my website or see our research. You can see a lot more projects with that as well. My Hometown project I just explained, here's some examples. It started out in the lab, looks a little bit like this, where students are using an iPad, and blossomed into an online course, and also now we have VR and students creating tours as well. We put this out into a big rally in the city of Fukuchiyama, where people are actually going all throughout the city in small groups and large groups together using augmented reality in a community engagement program where people in the community, students, are working together in these kinds of challenges, these quizzes, these rallies where you're supposed to move from one place to the other and use augmented reality to complete a set of tasks, to meet new people, to find out about the area, etc., etc. The My Why Me project is a media literacy project, a media design project where students are using video to create and better communicate through the lens of video and level up their English communication skills at the same time. Right, those are just some of the projects that we're doing in this space. I want to show you a whole lot more about it, but this has been Eric Hawkinson, Learning Futurist here at the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies. Thanks for joining me at the Future Hub. I hope you come visit us.